everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take a look at the Transformers Studio Series 86 Core Class Frenzy. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Is it a pickup or a pass? Now let's take a look at the figure's packaging. So here we have the packaging. Starting at the very front, we have Transformers on the side. We have Decepticon Frenzy red in white text with a white Decepticon symbol. We also do have a black Decepticon symbol with Studio Series in black text. We also do have the Transformers the movie logo with an open window displaying the figure in the packaging. If you do look at the top of the box, we have another Transformers the movie logo with Studio Series in black text with a really cool image or artwork shot of Frenzy in his remote with his pile drivers and blasters. And if we do look at the side of the box, we have a blue Decepticon symbol with Studio Series going down the side of the box in black text with a really cool close-up of Frenzy in his robot mode with core class in several different languages. And if we do look at the back of the box, the figure transforms in 9 steps. We have a product shot of Frenzy in his remote with his pile drivers and his blasters. We also have an image of Frenzy in his remote with just his blasters, and a final image or product shot of Frenzy in his cassette mode. And as for the final side, really just a small close-up image of Frenzy in his remote with all of his weapons and accessories looking really cool there. And that is pretty much it for the packaging, so let's now get into the review. Here we have Frenzy in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details, starting at the very top with the head sculpt. I do like the glossy black for the entire helmet section with some red for the visor, some silver for the face. I do like all these really cool kind of tubing and wiring sculpted into the chest with some really cool gold details and highlights with a very classic Decepticon symbol done in dark purple. And I do like the glossy red and black for the entire shoulder and form. And there's some more of those really cool kind of gold details and squares at the crotch with some more red at the top of the leg. And I do like all this really nice metallic blue and gold and gray for the feet and the front of the legs. I do like the feet design, but they actually use that kind of cheap, unfinished, kind of whitish gray plastic. I much would have preferred like a gunmetal gray or like a silver color, or if they had painted it, probably would have looked a bit better. But if we do look at the back, there's some pretty cool details back here, and overall there's a bit of hollowness, but you do have to keep in mind this is a core class figure, and it's a pretty small core class figure. I really consider this like a Micromaster scale because it's like half the size of an actual core class, so you do have to lower your expectations for pretty much all aspects of the figure, like articulation, of course, hollowness, accessories, and stuff like that. So it really doesn't bother me that much. But that is it for details. So now for articulation, if you do have rumble, it's the exact same articulation. If this is your first time actually experiencing this mold or this figure, it's actually pretty good considering how small this figure is. So of course the head can look up and down, it can look side to side, it can kind of tilt slightly a bit. The arms can move out and in, forward and back. There is no bicep rotation. There is no wrist rotation. The arms are pretty stock. I guess technically there is a little bit of movement at the hand. That's mostly due to transformation. There is no waist rotation. The legs can also kick forward, back, out to the side. There is a little bit of rotation at the top of the knee or the top of the leg, and there is a knee bend to a pretty good degree, mostly due to that hollowness in the back of the leg, and there is a bit of foot movement, mostly due to transmission again, but overall, pretty good articulation. I think maybe they could have had a bit more movement and rotation in the arms because they are quite stock, and you really don't do anything with them for the transmission except the hand, so maybe an elbow joint would have been a nice touch, but of course, not really surprised because, you know, this is pretty much the exact same thing as Rumble, so of course I already have that figure, so I'm not really surprised to see, you know, no change in the articulation or the molding. But that is pretty much it for articulation. So now for accessories, there is quite a few, and actually quite a few ways you can display them. So I'm going to start off with the blasters. So the blasters, you can store them in 2 different ways. One is the arms, and of course the second way is on the back. So let's actually start with the arms. So of course it does come with 2 identical blasters. There is a post on the blaster and a port on the form, and you can store them on the form like that. Again, kind of done at that sort of unfinished, cheap, grayish white color. Definitely would have preferred like a silver or a gunmetal gray color would have been a nice touch. And of course, the second one can store on the other arm in the exact same way. And I'm pretty sure these are blaster piece compatible in case you're wondering. But that's the first way you can store the weapons. I think that looks pretty cool. And of course, the main classic way that I think most people are going to want to display these is on the back. So you can actually take these off, and using that same post on the weapon, there is a port on the back, and that can just plug into place like that. And you can take the other one and do the exact same thing, which this is definitely how I like to display him, because of course I actually typically like to have him have his hammers or pile drivers, but I actually really like that kind of over the shoulder, sort of over the back cannon look. I actually think that looks very, very cool in my opinion. So now for incorporating or adding his pile drivers, there's pretty much really only one way you can use them. Of course, you can leave them off to the side if you want to, but as for displaying them or incorporating them into the figure, there's really only one way, but it does require a bit of kind of transformation or modification of the figure. You do have to hinge the arms out and fold in the hands, somewhat like you're about to transform the figure, so you do just kind of fold in the hands like that, and then just have the arms kind of as far out as possible, like that. And then you can grab either hammer, really doesn't matter, they're not specific to the right or left arm. And there is a slot, and of course you can just grab the entire form, and that just slides into place like that. And then you can grab the second one and store the hammer on the other arm like that as well. And let me just place him down. Of course, I could do definitely a more dynamic, intense pose with him, kind of running or smashing the ground. But for the time being, I have to say that actually looks really cool. But that is pretty much it for accessories. Let's now get down to some comparisons. Starting off our comparisons, here we have one quick group comparison of Frenzy compared alongside of all of Soundwave's other cassette mini-cons and Soundwave himself. I have to say they look absolutely awesome side by side, and let me know in the comments of all of Soundwave's cassette mini-cons which one is your favorite. And now for a quick mold comparison, here we have the Core Class Frenzy compared alongside his mold mate, that being the Core Class Rumble. And if you're wondering if there's any mold changes between the two, no, there is zero mold changes. It's really just a straight up repaint of each other, really just a matter of preference of which deco and design you prefer. And let me know in the comments of the two versions of this mold, which one is your favorite. If I were to choose, it'd probably be Rumble, because he's always been my favorite. I just love his design and his deco, and blue is my favorite color. Now for another comparison, here we have the Core Class 86 Frenzy compared alongside the Earthrise and Netflix Laserbeak. So now that Hasbro has finished with Rumble and Frenzy and giving them updated figures, do you think they should maybe revisit Laserbeak and Ravage? Let me know in the comments. So now for transformation, what you're going to do is start at the very top with the head. You're going to rotate the head all the way around like that. Then you're going to push the head into the cavity at the back of the figure. Then you can actually hinge both arms all the way out like that. Then you can push the hand into the cavity on the inside of the form like that. And then there is a ball joint and a hinge at each shoulder, and then you're just going to hinge the entire arm up and over the chest like that. You're going to repeat the exact same process and step for the other arm. So just hinge the entire arm and shoulder up like that. Then you can push in both feet at the foot of the legs. Then you can actually rotate at the top of the leg, pretty much where the knee region of the figure is. And then you can hinge this entire section up like that and tab that into place. Of course, do the exact same process on the other side. Just hinge the entire leg up, and that will just slide into place. You can rotate the entire figure around, and there we have Frenzy in his cassette mode. Let's now take a look at the details. Here we have Frenzy in his cassette alt mode. Let's take a look at the details, starting at the very front. To like all this glossy black and red in this entire top section here with some more silver and blue striping. Not a big fan of these huge exposed pins though, that actually looks pretty ugly. But if we do look at it from the side, there's some more gold details and whitish gray plastic with some more glossy black. And if we do look at it from the back, there's a very classic Decepticon symbol done in dark purple with some really cool circuitry and tubing and wiring done in gold as well, with some more of that bottom section. And as for the rest, mostly done that same glossy black and red color. And that's pretty much it for details. So now for one quick mold comparison, here he is with the Core Class 86 Rumble. And mold wise, they are the exact same thing, really just a matter of preference of which deco you prefer. And of course we can flip them to the back, and overall they look exactly the same from the back as well. And that's pretty much it for comparisons. So now for Frenzy's #1 main feature, I think you probably have a guess already of what I'm about to show, but you may be wondering, is Frenzy and Rumble compatible anyway with any of the previous Soundwave figures, such as Earthrise, Netflix Soundwave, maybe the Legacy Repack version, maybe the Siege version? And yes, you would be correct, he is actually compatible with all of those, and I'm pretty sure there's actually supposed to be a new Soundwave figure in the Legacy United line, I think a leader class figure, so maybe he'll be able to actually be compatible with some of these core class figures as well. I'm actually really looking forward to finding out that. But now, of course, showing off that feature, I'm actually going to use the Earthrise Netflix Soundwave to show off this very classic, iconic feature. So what you're going to do is press this button, and then, of course, you just make sure everything is kind of, compact and straightened out, and you just put the core class or the figure in this little tray right here. Just make sure it's all nice and compact, and you can just close this up like that, and there we have Frenzy tucked inside Soundwave in his Boombox mode, and that is pretty much it for features. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. Now for my final thoughts on the Transformers 2 Series 86 Core Class Frenzy. Frenzy is a straight up repaint of the Core Class Rumble with this classic glossy red and black deco. Frenzy comes with the same two blasters and pile drivers that came with Rumble, which can be stored on the figure's arms and back. Posability is pretty good considering how small the figure is, and tolerances are good even though most of the main joints are ball joints. Transformation is very straightforward, basically just folding up the arms and legs, and there you have a cassette. Frenzy's cassette mode is cute and fun and is compatible with any of the past Soundwave figures such as Siege, Earthrise, or Legacy. Now my biggest complaint with this figure is the price. Frenzy is priced at a core class, but the figure is about half the size. And I think Hasbro is trying to make up for that with the extra accessories, but the bottom line is this figure should not cost $12 to $15. What do you think of this figure? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you next time.